following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Bang! Sacked by Lord. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
It's a Saturday edition of Talkin Cowboys here from Oxnard, California, and on DallasCowboys.com as we are 1 week away from I almost said St. Louis Rams, the Los Angeles Rams coming to town, and we are less than a week away now from the Hall of Fame game because we have got football on the horizon and a busy week ahead here for the Dallas Cowboys. As, of course, I'm always joined by Rob Phillips, Mickey Spagnola, I'm Kyle Yeomans, and busy weekend ahead for the Cowboys. No such thing as a true off day until Monday. We had a regeneration day yesterday, at least the players did. Still got to hear from a couple coordinators and some of the front office as well throughout the latter part of this past week. But, hey, it's starting to get to exciting times, Rob, about this Dallas Cowboys team and finally getting back into action.
How many practices we got until the Hall of Fame game? Three, and a day off in between. So, it's the last little hurdle for the offense and defense to get their installs in before that game. And, the last chance – not the last chance in camp, but the last chance for guys to kind of show out. And as Dan Quinn said, see what guys can do, see what guys have earned in terms of snaps and roles early on here. And, we expect a lot of young guys to play in that game, but every single rep counts. So we'll see who steps forward today. Yeah, what should be a good crowd, by the way. Sounds like there's going to be a lot of people out here today.
Let me tell you how good it is, because I rode down Ventura going north, and at 7 o'clock in the morning, there were 46 cars lined up to come in.
Oh my gosh!
Right? They block off a lane over there, and then they let them go into the shoulder, and then they took up my bike lane. Right?
Oh, how dare they!
And then on the way back, when it was probably 5 minutes to 8. Mm-hmm. There were 112 cars already lined up to come in. People were like almost tailgating for breakfast on the side of the road, right? They're taking pictures, looking at the river bottoms, doing whatever. But it was so I don't think they let them in till like 10:30. So it was 2 hours before they can get in. But boy, they were going to get in. They weren't going to get left out. So. And by the way, if anybody's coming and just happens to have a VIP pass, you don't have to get in the 112-car line. You can get in the 5-car line. There's a separate one. How about that?
Wow.
That'll be the best tip you get in this next 45 minutes.
I didn't realize it was Saturday until you said that, Kyle.
Yeah.
I did, and
doesn't feel like it.
No, but when we see the crowd out there, you're going to know it's Saturday.
No, every day here is Tuesday, right?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Every day.
It's Groundhog's Day or whatever.
But you know what? I could tell it was Saturday because there was less traffic on the roads. And they were setting up, where Larson's is in that little
the collection.
They were setting up a farmer's market.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It looked like they had some pretty good produce getting ready to be bought.
I'm sure they did. I wonder how many of the
Will's about to fall out of his chair.
I wonder how many of the 200 cars are listening to Talkin Cowboys and are like, "Ooh, what about that produce stand back there?"
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Or the VIP tip that Mick just gave them. But
I probably just caused a bunch of people to try and cheat now.
U-turning and getting out of that line.
Let's get in that VIP lane, right?
Hopefully 200 of those cars are listening to Talkin Cowboys. I don't know. We'll see. Let's go ahead and talk about what we heard from some of the coordinators yesterday and keeping it on the track of the Hall of Fame game. And, of course, like Rob said, it's going to be an opportunity for some of these younger players, these guys fighting for roster spots, fighting for spots on the depth chart to really show out and to show what they have for this coaching staff more so than any other time. And Dan Quinn talked to it yesterday. He said, anytime you get the chance to compete, it's a big thing. And a lot of people will like to write off the Hall of Fame game and say, man, it's not going to be the starters. It's not going to be the stars on display in Canton. However, there is a lot that's going to come out of what's happening on Thursday.
If you listen to what some of the people are saying, there's a 53-man roster. And I know you mentioned the coordinators, but I bet they're looking at 70 guys have a legitimate chance to make that 53. So yeah, you better not have a bad day, right? Mm-hmm. And like we said the other day, Jordan Lewis has been out rehabbing. I think he had a little bit of I don't know if it was a knee or a groin, something like that. And Maurice Kennedy stepped up and has caught the attention of the coaching staff. So yeah, I think today and tomorrow will be really significant practices in pads, because that Tuesday before they leave on Wednesday for Cleveland to go to the Hall of Fame game, it's probably going to be somewhat of a let's get the guys some looks at what we think Pittsburgh's going to do, right?
A little bit of cards.
Yeah, the bonnets.
Just a little bit.
The bonnets might come out.
Maybe a little bit.
Cards. So, yeah, these two practices are really significant. And as we've seen, there's upgraded competition at the cornerback spot, the safety spot, linebacker. Well, name it. Name the position, and I'll give you some competition.
It kind of goes to what we talked about, I think, in our first show, Rob, when we got here to Oxnard, was there is not a spot on this defense, maybe outside of DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory, that can't be up for competition. There's really no spot on that defense that's safe.
More or less. Yeah,
more or less.
I mean, I think there's certain positions I would expect week
Trayvon Diggs.
That's
probably the third one.
Leighton Vander Esch.
Okay.
Whether Micah Parsons is a starter or not, he's going to play a ton.
But there's competition.
There's competition. Stephen Jones actually met with the media a couple days ago and said 53-man roster, like Mick said. He actually said 65 guys.
65. I was trying to remember that number.
Yeah,
yes.
there's 65 guys that can make play for anybody. Now that doesn't mean 12 of the cuts they have to make eventually will all get claimed, but that's how they feel about the competition. And I think
that's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have if that's, in their mind, that's what they feel like. I think a couple spots in particular, you guys mentioned corner, safety, the DBs, figuring that out, because, sometimes there's some overlap with guys who could do both, figuring that out, and then D-line, because tackle in particular, figuring out that group, because it's a pretty solid group in terms of depth. And that's not even counting Tristan Hill, who's on PUP, and who knows, may start the season on PUP as well.
Yeah, they may put him in the back pocket and say, look, we've got all these guys, and I don't want to cut somebody that I really like, but we can save a spot with Tristan Hill on PUP and let him go 6 weeks and then see what happens. And if you listen to Mike McCarthy when he's talking about the roster, and he doesn't look at it in terms of 53, he looks at it in terms of 68, meaning there's 15 guys that are going to go on the practice squad. And so he's looking at 68, and, you only got 90, so you're not eliminating that many guys. And unlike last year, they're going to have to start cuts along the way. It's not going to be 90 to 53 or whatever they did last year. I can't remember. But there's going to be cut to 85 and 80 and, going along. So,
85 on August 17th.
Okay.
So right before the
second preseason game.
I'm sorry,
third.
Yeah, it's in between the second and the third.
So, yeah, and look, the three positions that I identified on offense that need to be solidified, the backup spots, none of that's settled yet. We think we know who might be the backup quarterback, since Garrett Gilbert's going second, and they kind of said he's number 2 because he's taking Dak's snaps. But there's still competition there, and there's still competition with whoever might get released maybe at the end of a training camp. There's competition at the left tackle position. I don't think anybody has stood out there to take that swing tackle spot. So in my mind, still Zach Martin's the swing tackle, with Connor McGovern going to play guard. And then the backup center. Who's the backup center? I don't know that anybody said, okay, I can do this in an NFL game, right? And we heard Kellen Moore say something about, well, Joan Looney's not here yet, or not here now.
Not here right now is what he said.
Not here right now, yeah. And so that tells me that, okay, you guys that are trying to be the backup center better go.
Got Jumbo on speed dial?
Yes, I would. They may even have a plane ticket for him, right? Just whenever, So, yeah, I think the competition there hasn't not been settled yet. And to me, those are three very important positions.
Going back to Steven talking with the media a couple days ago, one quote he had about the quarterback spot, backup quarterback. He said, we like them all, but it's the same line of thinking that we've heard throughout the offseason. He said, we feel good about it. As I said, if we see something that makes us better, then we're always open to it. They're going to keep their eyes open, also depending on how guys perform. Now, we don't know how much more time Dak's going to miss in practice throwing. For now, the reps are wide open, and they might be wide open for a couple preseason games. We don't know at this point. Definitely for this first game, I would think. So it's an opportunity for all three backups, but look, they've added guys the first week or two of the regular season before changed their quarterback dynamic. So I would not rule out anything at that position going forward.
Well, even look at the guy that's currently the backup quarterback or currently QB2. When was he signed last year? Week 8 of the season, going into Week 9, and then he started Week 10 against Pittsburgh. So, I mean, there is that possibility that your backup quarterback is not on this roster right now, kind of like how Mick alluded to a little bit earlier, and I think that's comforting in the fact that, hey, those backup quarterback spots have not looked impressive during their time out in Oxnard. There's still a long way to go until you really need them in terms of Week 1 or Week 2 of the regular season, but they're going to get a lot of reps coming up. Now,
well, and the other thing when you were talking about those guys, so yesterday was the first full practice they got, right? Without Dak there. Mm-hmm. And the ball wasn't going down the field.
A lot of tight end check downs.
Running backs.
Yes.
And I don't know if that was kind of in the game plan to practice that type of stuff, but I can only think of 2 or 3, 4 passes that went down the field. The one to C.D. Lamb, he made the diving reception at the goal line.
There's one to Cedric, I think.
Yeah, then the one at the end to McKeon for a touchdown, made a nice catch at the back of the end zone. But a lot of the stuff they were practicing, it was, red zone, 25-yard in, and there was a lot of checkdowns. So I'm going to see if these guys – now, the other thing is, the defensive front has done a really good job putting pressure on the quarterbacks.
Yes, they have.
And it doesn't matter, seemingly, if it's the first team or the second team, especially the second team. Those guys have got to step up and that's why I'm somewhat concerned about the backup tackle spot, because I don't know that anybody has got their hand up in the air and said, this is my spot. And that includes Ty Nsekhe, the veteran, Josh Ball, their fourth-round draft choice, and even Terrence Steele, who got a ton of reps last year or snaps because he ended up starting, I think, 9 or 10 games. I don't think anybody has stepped up yet.
No, I don't think so at all. Now, I kind of want to go back to what Stephen Jones was talking about, and he said a couple of different things when he met with the media the other day, but he also talked about guys who stuck out to him, and the first name off his tongue was Kelvin Joseph.
No, it was Fat.
Exactly. He called him Fat, Boss Man Fat, as his music name goes by. But what have you seen from Kelvin Joseph? He was limited in the last practice, so it's been a couple of days. Maybe we'll see him back out here today because he was on the bands with Brett Brown on Friday, on Thursday. But what have you guys seen from Kelvin Joseph, and how has he stepped up in the regard of maybe challenging a guy like Anthony Brown for that cornerback 2 spot?
I think that we finally saw him, and he's been playing left corner behind Anthony Brown. We saw him make a couple plays on the ball. And the thing that I've noticed with him is he has catch-up speed. Cornerbacks are going to get beat. That's just what's going to happen. But can you catch up when the ball's in the air? And he did it twice the last couple practices before he sat out the last practice or two and deflected passes. So I thought that was encouraging because, Rob, we didn't really see him in the offseason, right?
No, he missed like 10 days because of COVID quarantine.
Right.
And so, he got back out there for mini camp, but it was like 2 quick practices. So he's got swagger, man. He's got swag. He talks about it. You see him talking on the field. That's important. I mean, you don't want to be reckless out there as a rookie cornerback, but you got to have a short memory, and I think he has that. So, you see his talent out there, his physical ability. If you see him stand next to some of the other corners that they've acquired, drafted, he's different looking because he's 5'10" as opposed to 6'4", 6'3". He's not every guy that they bring in is going to be a basketball player, but he does have speed, he does have ball skills, but I will say this: you name a cornerback on this roster, and they've probably made a play on the football,
including Anthony Brown with that interception.
I was going to say Anthony Brown looks to me like he's off to a really nice start. So I don't know if that job's going to be taken from him very easily.
Is that encouraging to you? Not only the fact that Anthony Brown is being challenged, but Anthony Brown is stepping up to the table, because I feel like that's something that we haven't had from him. From the expectations, he's been a solid corner. He hasn't been a bad corner, but he hasn't necessarily taken that next step that you would anticipate from a guy like that. And now as a veteran with guys behind him clamoring for a starting job, he seems to be, like you said, off to a great start.
He's got to stay healthy. Last year he was injured during training camp. He played a couple games, started, then he got injured again, missed games. He's just got to stay healthy because he's the most veteran corner, right?
Yep.
Off the top of my head. And they signed him to a 3-year deal for like $15 million, so they saw something in him that they wanted to keep. So if he keeps playing the way he is right now, maybe Kelvin Joseph, they got to look at him as maybe a slot guy, see what he can do there. You don't want to overload a rookie right away and give him too many things to do, but I've always thought he's been a very good, steady player. Has he been flashy? No, not really. But you know what? Last year, towards the end of the year, you saw him come up with an interception. I don't remember if it was an interception or two, but he's got some skills, and they've got to use him somehow, some way on that field.
He can play inside, so you can move him around. I don't think I've seen Kelvin Joseph really inside yet.
No, not yet.
They've kept him on the outside. We talk about Leighton Vander Esch's number of games missed the last couple years, 13 games. I think Anthony Brown's missed 13 games the past 2 seasons.
Wow.
So, I mean, injuries have kept him back. But, yeah, they like him. He is a veteran guy and look, they can put him in different positions. So, I don't know. That's one to watch. I still think week 1 I would expect him to be the starter. But it's still very, very early.
Whenever Mick gets out the media guide, that's when you know he's digging deep for this next stat. Now, while he's looking
on Anthony Brown.
Okay.
So in 2019, he started 4 of 9 games he played. Remember, he suffered the season-ending injury. Was it a tricep or bicep, something like that? And then last year he started 8 of 10 games, so he missed 6. So 6 and 7 is 13,
Rob.
Baby.
Look at that.
Look at
Good
that.
job, Rob Phillips.
Thank you.
Well done, everybody. All right, Rob, what else did you hear from Stephen Jones when he spoke to the media on Thursday?
Oh, man, I'd have to go back and dig
So
through it. Anything else, Mick?
He mentioned Leighton Vander Esch, I believe, who I think has played awfully well so far. And he mentioned 2 of the defensive tackles, Neville Gallimore and Quinton Bohanna, talking about those 2 guys, how they've kind of caught his eye also. So, yeah, and those were just kind of quick off the top of his head after he mentioned Kelvin Joseph, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he talked about Dak. I know we've touched on that a little bit with the strained shoulder muscle. They still are optimistic he can play in preseason. Now, when that will be, we don't know. It's a day-to-day thing right now. Mike McCarthy said they'll kind of reevaluate him Monday, go through the weekend, and then see where he's at in terms of can he get back to throwing. But they still think he can do something in preseason. So that would be encouraging as well.
So let's do this with Dak. So he's not going to practice today, and he's not going to practice tomorrow because he said Monday will tell us what we can do.
Right.
So does he get out there on Tuesday? Because Wednesday's a travel day, Thursday's the game. He's absolutely not playing, right? So Friday is an off day. Saturday, you're going against the Rams. And then Sunday, Monday are days off. So
there's not a lot of chances to throw.
So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of the following week are practices, and then they leave Thursday late for a Friday preseason game. Mm-hmm. Am I right?
Yes.
And then you're off when you get back. So I figured out that they could actually easily give him 12 days if they wanted to not throw. But can you tie him down for 12 days? Because, he's already out there doing everything but throwing. And as Mike said, when they do the mock game in the afternoon,
he's out there.
He's out there. He's just not throwing the ball. He's doing the walkthroughs. He's in all the meetings. We saw him in the drills not throwing, but he was out there playing wide receiver for the quarterbacks, catching balls. So to me, that sort of suggests that it may be just tightness, that he really didn't, do some damage in there. And according to him yesterday, number one, he said if he was playing in a game and that happened, he wouldn't have come out. And number two, if it happened the week leading up to a game, he said he would have been able to play the game. He would do here's how he put it, I would do everything I could to be able to be ready to play the game.
He said that most likely sounded like he didn't warm up well enough. And then he tried a deep throw, and that's probably what caused at least some of it. Don't know for sure. He also said, throughout his rehab process, he was throwing footballs sitting down, just trying to get back into it a little bit, and maybe that could have caused some stress that's a little unusual on the body. If you go back all the way through a year, he hasn't thrown as much as he normally would. So, now he's really ramping up, and it's just hard to know for sure. But, yeah, I mean, every indication you get is that this is not a serious thing. Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator, I thought summed it up best yesterday when he said, when it's still July and we play our first game in September, we're going to be smart about it. I mean, when you think about an entire month gap there plus, they're not going to push him. There's no reason to, because the season depends on him. The season depends on him being healthy and playing at a high level.
Yeah, 100%. I think cautiousness is definitely the number one key right now. I mean, I asked you guys, I think both during one of our other shows, what was your number one priority going into training camp? Stay healthy. That's always the priority whenever training camp comes around. So if he has to sit out 12 days and has to tie him down, like you said, Mick, for 12 days, I think that's something that the Cowboys should certainly consider. Now, should the Cowboys consider maybe hiring an MLB pitching coach? We're going to answer that question and a couple other ones that are a little more relevant when we return with Fans on the 50 with more Talkin' Cowboys right after this.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here with more Talkin' Cowboys here from the campgrounds in Oxnard, California. Training Camp 2021 presented by American Airlines continues. And whether you're watching from home or you're cheering in those Oxnard stands with Essilor lenses, you can see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more, Essilor. Mickey Spagnola, Rob Phillips, Kyle Yeomans with you. And time now to answer some fan questions with some fans on the 50. We don't have the sounder because Chris Beam is not running the show today.
On the
but
50.
William's doing a good job. Oh, maybe there is the sounder. I don't know. He just pointed at me. We can't hear program in these headsets, so maybe we did have it. All right. First one comes from Bluff City Cowboys. He said, which undrafted free agents, if any, have stood out to you guys in practices? And I'm even going to throw this back to last year because of the undrafted free agents not actually having a full offseason. I want to throw last year's undrafted free agents and this year's. Anybody stick out to you, Mickey?
You know,
it's a long pause.
One guy that I was somewhat interested in.
Okay.
I forgot his first name. Tyler Coyle, the safety.
Purdue.
Unfortunately for him, the safety position just got a little bit more crowded when they brought in Malik Hooker.
Just a tad bit.
And I was thinking that's probably the guy that might pay the price if they keep all those veteran safeties. Mm-hmm. He would at least be, I think, a practice squad guy. And then Rico Dowdle, the running back
from last year,
who made the team. But you said go back to last year.
Absolutely.
I think he's McCarthy talked about it, that he seems more he seems quicker. He's in better shape, and he's got a chance to make it as a third running back. And then also going back to Suwo, is that how you say it? Suwo?
Yep.
The fullback. I tell you what, if they want
Shewu,
not Suwu. Well, it's kind of spelled that way. If they need a big block back, maybe a one back sometimes. He's kind of getting some reps this time. So he ended up on the practice squad last year. We'll see where that one goes.
He borderline being active at one point whenever Zeke was hurt and he missed the game. Shewu was one of the guys that they were going to bring up and bring onto the squad, and they protected him a couple different times too.
Right.
So I think they do feel very highly about what Alana Lua does bring to the table.
It's going to be hard for it's going to be hard for an undrafted guy to make this team.
Yes.
I mean, when you have 11 draft picks, not every draft pick will make this team possibly. So, Mickey mentioned the fullback position, and Mike kind of referenced maybe more two-back sets. We'll see. Nick Ralston's a fullback in there that, maybe he has an opportunity to show something in preseason.
His parents were here the other day.
Were they?
Oh, wow.
Leave it to Bill Jones, right?
That's the Bill thing.
I saw him interviewing these people, and I'm going, who's that? And then I saw the back of the lady's jersey, and it had Ralston's number and his name back there. And I'm thinking in the pro shop, there's probably not a lot of Ralston jerseys being sold.
Probably
so
not.
I said, it's probably his parents.
Brandon Smith kind of jumps out at you, just his natural ability. And I know they like him coming out. They thought he was a draftable type of prospect, but I just don't know how you crack this receiver core.
Yeah, think about this. The way they're talking about Noah Brown and Cedric Wilson. So there's 5 right there.
Mike McCarthy said, I love Noah Brown.
One spot, pretty much.
Yeah.
There maybe if you keep 6. Maybe if you keep 6.
The undrafted guy that stood out to me the most is the guy that made the team last year, and that's Sean McCune at tight end. And it's not just the one-handed catch that he made. He had a good year last year for them in limited snaps. I thought he was solid. So he might be able to take a jump and be the third tight end this year. We'll see.
Well, no Blake Bell this year, and McCune kind of filled in that role last year as the blocking set, almost that H-back look in the backfield, and he was used in a lot of run packages. And like you said, even though it was limited snaps, he did a really nice job, and he stood up well. Plus, he's bigger this year than he was last year. Yes. So I think McCune does make sense in that regard.
And he makes it hard for either the other rookie free agents, Eubanks or Lynn, to try to or even sprinkle that
veteran.
Honestly,
I think the team.
I think McCune does have an advantage over Sprinkle to make the team.
So far,
if they're going to take 3, I mean, you've got Schultz and you got Jarwin.
You kind of got to keep 3 tight ends.
Got to have 3, right?
Yeah.
To rotate in.
Even if you kept a fullback, you got to keep 3 tight ends.
Yeah, I think you're looking at the same 3 as last year. Okay, this question comes from Brennan. It says, how should Zeke and Pollard snaps be split up this season? I know it's early, but he said 80-20 Zeke or more like 50-50. What do you think, Mickey?
Not 50-50.
Oh, closer to?
No.
80-20?
80-20 would give Zeke 20 snaps a game, and Pollard maybe 10.
That's 66%.
Which is 66? 20 and 10?
Nobody here's got a math degree.
Yeah. But I'm saying, okay, whatever the percentage is, it ain't going to be 50-50. Mm-hmm. Zeke is still Zeke, right? And Pollard has – look, one of these you know what makes me think of it? No, it's not the same. I won't do that.
Go ahead.
Get into it, Nick. Say it with your chest on this show.
Because you know who else showed up on Thursday for practice? Kevin Sweeney. So he was the star of the replacement games in '87, right? He was the quarterback, and Tex Schramm was just enamored with him. And they kept him on the roster. They kept him the next year, and finally Tom gave him a start. And I think he threw like 5 interceptions, and that was the end of that. So sometimes what my point is, Pollard's good in his role. Now, do you want to overexpose him? And is he capable of 20, 25 snaps a game? Because if you look at when he got more opportunities, save a long run or so, he was not even that one game they had the long run in, he was averaging 2 yards a carry. And again, which my point is, going back to the offensive line, they weren't very good. And Zeke was managing 4 yards a carry without a long run because he had to plow in there every time. And Pollard, until that long run that one game, was averaging 2 yards a carry. So just be careful. Use him in spots because I think the change of pace really messes with a defense. They're used to the rhythm of Zeke running the ball, and then all of a sudden you put this guy out there and you get him outside, and the speed surprises him. So I think the role he has, if it was 2010, I think that'd be really good.
When Zach Martin, I keep saying this, when he went out on Thanksgiving, they had found something in their run game. Even with the other injuries on the O-line, when he went out, it really affected them, and Mickey's not wrong here. I mean, the Cincinnati game, 11 carries for 39 yards. Long of 17. San Francisco game, 12 carries for 69 yards, long of 40.
So 11 for 20-some, right?
Nine for
neutralized
12.
for more than enough of his carries.
9 for 12 against Philly. So I'm not saying he's a bad – he is explosive, and he was more explosive in a change of pace role than Zeke was last year. Zeke dealing with stuff. You got to find a place for him, and I think you could maybe find a place for him as a pass catcher out of the backfield, more so than they've used him in the past, because that's what he did in college somewhat. But, yeah, it's gonna be hard to really make it a 50-50 split. I think Zeke is still the guy. Now, Mike did say Zeke doesn't have to be 25-30 a game, carries a game. They want to get him ready for December and hopefully January.
And February.
And maybe February.
Why not?
So and the fourth quarter.
That's good. That's a good point. Yeah, keep him fresh. Sticking with the offensive side, Jay asks, some conflicting reports on Terrence Steele. Has he been good enough to challenge for the backup tackle spot or not?
Yeah, based on this group,
I think they're all in the same boat right now. So yeah, because they've basically moved Brandon Knight into guard. Yes. Although he's been playing exclusively some of both, tackle, right? But he guard. Yeah, exclusively. But he's gone some tackle. But yeah, right now. The 3 guys we mentioned earlier in the show, I think it's a dead heat. And it's not a dead heat because they're fighting for first place at the finish line like a swimming meet. How about that Katie Ledecky?
How about her?
800 meters, and she's pulling away at the end. And
she was really impressive.
Everybody's talking. She's like a machine, right? Everybody's talking about, well, this could be her last race. And they asked her, and she goes, no. She goes, 24. It's in my sights. She's only 24. It's like she's not washed up.
Yeah.
But she's been around for so long.
Pretty impressive.
I don't know how to transition back.
I don't know how I got to it either, but
Glad you're with us here on this edition of Talking Olympics. Our buddy Koufax said, which position group do you think the team goes heavy on? 12 DBs, 11 offensive linemen, or more defensive linemen? And I know this is a tough question because, like Stephen Jones said, there's 65 names out there that can make this roster. They're going to have 12 decisions to be made pretty quickly in the next couple of weeks. If you were in his shoes, what would you choose and what would you go heavy on?
This is just me from what I've seen so far.
Say it with your chest.
I think there's more talent in depth on the defensive line than the offensive line or even the secondary. In the secondary, too, you can kind of flex there a little bit with a couple spots because you got guys who could, play safety in a pinch, play corner, so you can potentially go lighter in the secondary.
They kept 10 DBs last year?
I could see 11.
Okay.
I think somebody mentioned 11.
Yes.
Was it
McCarthy did.
McCarthy did.
He said 11. He said I've seen it as high as 12 or 13.
Yeah, I could see 11. Defensive line.
They kept 10 last year. They've got 16 on the roster right now.
I mean,
let me see if I can cut 6.
Even a Justin Hamilton, who you don't think of right off the bat.
He had a good practice the other day.
Quinn referenced him yesterday, and he played quite a bit last year at times.
Mickey's counting, and I'm also counting, looking at this roster.
I mean, I can probably easily cut 4 of the 16.
4 and then 5 borderline?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it comes down to, do you want to keep Golston? Do you want to keep Anai?
You're keeping Golston.
Things like that.
Well,
he's got to get himself on the field.
He's a third-round pick.
Yeah, I know. But still, he better start getting on the field. But the rest of the guys, when you look at it, and they can still do, like I said, put Christian Hill on, leave him on pup, so that saves a spot. From what I've been told, Dorrance Armstrong is really playing well, and that didn't come from Jerry.
Wow.
Okay, because last year,
that's
all Jerry wanted to talk about was Dorrance Armstrong, right? Basham has looked good. The new guys, Urban, look good. Watkins is playing with the firsts. So, yeah, I think it's a crowded group, and that's a good thing. And, look, we got a long ways to go before 53, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of practices and a lot of preseason games.
Yes.
So I'll let them start knocking on wood.
Co-GMs, Mickey Spagnola and Rob Phillips keeping defensive linemen.
And there's something to be said for that, too.
No, it is. It's a good problem to have. Now, I tease this.
Co-GMs.
Oh.
Is there?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I want to raise then.
Yeah, right. John asked this question, and I teased it going into the break. And I believe there's a little tongue-in-cheek here, but it's actually kind of an intriguing question. But should Dak hire an MLB pitching coach or, I guess, trainer to help him keep his arm fresh during the offseason after the problems he's had at the start of camp?
It was probably as fresh as it could be this last offseason, right?
You think so?
Well, he wasn't throwing that much from October to
he was throwing.
February, he probably didn't do a lot of throwing when he couldn't even stand up on his own.
He wasn't throwing 9 routes or go routes.
Maybe he should have gone to spring training.
Bring Tom House in, right?
Yeah. No. Yes. No.
I'd say no. I think he said he's never really experienced this before.
Yeah.
That was that's why it surprised him a little bit. Man, don't talk about baseball around Brad Sham right now. Oh my gosh,
that poor guy. He's a Cubs fan. For
9
everybody who
Cubs
doesn't know.
traded.
Yep. Chris Bryant gone.
Actually,
Javi
he
Baez
said
gone.
he woke up this morning. The TV was still on. He woke up at 4 a.m. and Olympic baseball was on.
Oh no, that poor guy. All right, let's take our second break. When we come back, linebacker rankings. We gave you a homework assignment on Thursday. Let's see how both of these guys did. I'll join in as well. We're going to rank the 4 linebackers as they stand right now from what we've seen out in Oxnard when we return to Oxnard here on Talkin' Cowboys.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Stadium this season. A limited number of single-game standing room only tickets are on sale now. Get yours today at DallasCowboys.com/tickets. Rob Phillips, Mickey Spagnola, Kyle Yeomans, the only live radio/podcast going on Radio Row in Oxnard right now, by the way.
We scared the competition away.
Monopolized the market.
Couldn't keep up with us 7 days a week.
Couldn't do so. Now, they have to go every day during the week, and then we've got a day off in between, which, by the way, reminds me, join us on Monday. We'll wrap up a busy weekend of practices, both Saturday and Sunday practices here from Oxnard. We'll talk about it on Monday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Okay, homework assignment on Thursday was to watch the linebackers and see exactly how they looked. How did they look on Thursday's practice and what you've seen throughout camp, Mickey?
I might have to have a 4 and 4A. How are we going to judge Keanu Neal? Because
as a linebacker.
He's a linebacker, but he's not a every down linebacker. He's a change-up kind of matchup linebacker, right?
Okay.
Leighton Vander Esch, Micah Parsons, Jalen Smith, and then Keanu Neal.
Interesting.
With Jabril Cox coming.
Okay, I'm cool
close.
with 5 here then. I'm cool with that.
So 5.
Okay. I'll go Leighton Vander Esch, Micah Parsons, Keanu Neal, Jalen Smith, Luke Gifford.
Wow.
He's getting opportunities.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, there was a couple of the drills they were doing that he went out there second with Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I was about to say he ran with the 2s a little bit the other day.
They had a surprise period down on this end here where offense was backed up against their own 1, had to get 2 straight first downs to win the drill. And he ran with the second and third teams and had, I think, at least 2 would-be stops to force the offense off the field. Kind of jumped out.
He's got to stay healthy.
Well, sure.
He's had problems with his health.
I'm not saying Jalen's off to a bad start at camp by any means, but I think Leighton jumps out at you, just how he's moving. He just looks great. He seems like he's in the right spot with his keys. Micah's made the most splash plays.
And he's more versatile.
That jumps out at you, too. He's everywhere. I mean, he's dropping, he's rushing, he's playing inside, outside, slot. And I think Neal's made some plays on the ball.
Has he?
A little bit.
He's made at least one that I can remember.
A little bit. I mean, not just in team.
That's as much as I remember Jalen Smith making, too, though.
Not just in team. I mean, I've seen him, cover Zeke in a one-on-one drill, and you're thinking, okay, he's that's the safety in him coming out.
But and we're talking about plays on the ball, meaning pass plays.
Yes.
This team's got to stop the run.
Great point.
So when we see more, drills against the run, they're not putting guys on the ground. Maybe we're not going to see that until we see preseason games, right? But again, let's not judge the linebackers just on pass plays. They got to be able to stop the run. That was the biggest problem last year. They could not stop the run.
Agree.
5 yards a carry they were giving up. And my math tells me in 2 carries, that's a first down.
No doubt. No doubt. And look, we are not experts at this, watching practice, knowing everybody's assignments, Micah Parsons could be having a bust here and there that we don't see, but we see him pick off a pass, and we're thinking he's having a great practice.
You see these flash plays, and it kind of deters your thoughts away from a good practice to a bad practice pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But you see him penetrating against the run, and you see him getting in the right spot, like picking the right gap to hit against the run. It's remarkable for a guy that didn't play football last year.
Well, and a lot of what Dan Quinn was talking about yesterday was about the linebackers. And in these plays and in these scenarios where there's a lot of run defense and you're trying to get the run established, and that's really what they did on Thursday, you're looking for leverage. You're looking for positioning leverage and where you're hitting a guy, because you're not going to put Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott, whoever's running the football on the ground. You're not going to put them on the ground, so you're looking to be where you're going to hit them from, where that leverage is. And I think that's why I would probably still put Jalen Smith third, because he has had a couple of those looks. And Keona Neal, he hasn't had the flash plays. He's had, like you said, he's gotten his hand on a couple of balls, but he hasn't made the flash plays, and it's harder to see what he's doing. However, I do like Keona Neal better in coverage than what I've seen from Jalen Smith in coverage, and that's pretty easy.
That's pretty simple, yeah.
That's a pretty easy thing to look at. But
I'm just trying to change it up a little bit.
No, I agree.
I agree. When I think when the season starts, I think Jalen Smith will have more snaps than Neal. That's my guess. But
I feel like you would be bold going the other way.
Yeah.
So I would say, by the way, Leighton Vander Esch, Micah Parsons.
Well, wait. So who's
Jalen Smith?
Who's Neal replacing when he's on the field?
He would just rotate in at the
probably with
second
Leighton,
team,
right?
Okay.
I
wouldn't take my best linebacker off the field.
Not a lot. But
I'm not taking Parsons off the field.
He would replace Jalen.
Yeah, in changeup, right?
Yeah. But I feel like that was the original plan regardless.
Yeah, because if you look at what they've done when it's been 3 linebackers on the first team, it's been Jalen, Leighton, and Parsons.
Well, what is Jalen Smith's best attribute? It's running downhill, right?
Yeah, middle linebacker.
What is Keona Neal's best attribute?
Playing on the edge.
Being in coverage.
Yeah,
so there's your change-up. It's that matchup playing that Dan Quinn was talking about.
But you got to take somebody off the field. So you taking Jalen and Leighton off?
Maybe. Put Micah Parsons out there. We've seen a lot of sets with 11 and 42 out there alone.
I know. But if they're lining, the encouraging thing to me is if teams are lining up in base offense or 2 tight ends, they're going out there with 3 linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
None of this nickel stuff, and then bringing a skinny bone safety to play linebacker.
They're not going to do that?
The run. No, they better not.
I think they will.
That's why they got in trouble last year.
It's Mickey's biggest pet peeve of the season.
Not having a strong side linebacker on the field against 2 tight ends.
I think you're going to be out of luck again. I think they're going to do a lot of that.
Well, then why are they practicing 3 linebackers out there?
Well, they are with the first team, and then they go to nickel whenever the second team.
Well, when they go nickel, I don't want 3 linebackers out there. I'm talking about base.
Gotcha.
They better have 3 of them out there and stop the run. 2,500 yards they gave up running the ball. That just doesn't compute. And they were 31st against the run.
I wouldn't qualify Neal as a skinny bone safety.
No. I mean taking a free
maybe
safety.
2 years ago.
I know, but
they would put Xavier Woods in a linebacker spot.
I agree with you, but I'm just saying, like Dan Quinn told us yesterday, he tricked Neal into thinking he was a safety when he was a linebacker.
And that's fine.
He played around the box his whole career.
He's 220-something.
He's heavier than that, right?
Yeah, he's definitely beefed up.
He looks heavier than that.
Let's see.
He looks like a linebacker now.
See what he weighed in at. 225.
I don't know how many snaps he's going to play. I just know
that
at
least 10 or 15.
The D coordinator likes him, knows him, trusts him.
Yeah, he understands the defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be out there some.
I think it's going to be a matchup thing, how they have guys that can match up, even in nickel, how they can match up with who the other team has on the field.
Which I love that.
Because they've had defenses out there when Parsons has been out there, and they've lined him up in the slot. Like if the running back goes out into the slot, they've put Parsons out there on him, and he's been on wide receivers too. And because they don't know if he's covering or if the Cowboys are in zone and he's blitzing from out there, and I think he's really important in that type of scheme.
One of the first practices of the camp, Micah Parsons was about 30 yards downfield, having to cover CeeDee Lamb over the middle because they were playing zone, and he was not blitzing off the edge, but he was covered outside in the slot, and he had to rotate his assignment. He kept up pretty well, I think, with CeeDee Lamb in the long run.
That was a scramble play.
Yes.
And he ended up on the goal line with CD.
Mm-hmm. And CD did not come down with the football, which is saying something because he's been fantastic throughout this camp. Really quickly before we wrap things up.
As the helicopter flies over.
I know. It's like the third one that's come by, too.
They're low today.
Yeah, they are. Thoughts on Dan Quinn calling the defense from the press box level, my friend? Rob?
I was a little surprised just because not knowing that he's done that in the past, just because he's so hands-on.
Yes.
He reminds you of Rod Marinelli a little bit, who was on the field when he called the defense. But I get it. I think probably that would be the most logical thing, I would think, if you want a bird's eye view and you don't have all this noise down there, you get a better view up top than you do down on the field.
Agreed.
So I would understand why he would want to do that.
So it helps out that George Edwards is on the sideline.
And
so you've
Joe
got
Witt.
You've got a defensive coordinator, a guy that's been the defensive coordinator in multiple spots on the sideline with you. So that I think helps out with the communication.
He said there'd be a couple guys up in the booth with him. He didn't say who. But, yeah, that would make sense to have George down on the field.
I would imagine one of the DB coaches would be up there. They would probably keep is it Dirty, the kind of assistant, on the field along with Leon.
I was thinking Al Harris would probably be on the field because he's a pretty hands-on guy, too.
I bet both of those DB coaches are on the field.
Yeah.
They'll have the other linebacker coach, McCurley, up, I bet. And if there's any other defensive assistant that they can put up, too.
Yeah.
Hey, how about Hunter the punter?
I thought we were going to go back to the Olympics.
Kick 2 field goals.
They were like 35-yarders, though.
24 and 35.
Had a doink from 47.
47, he hit the left upright. And they were keeping score. So if you tried a field goal and you missed, it was the other team got 8 points.
Yep.
And they were sitting there going, this is to win it, this is to win it. And it hit the upright from 47.
Goodness. Hunter the punter handling the punting and kicking duties.
Hey, you know what? Next show, we need to talk about that.
Okay.
I think we're out of time.
We are.
William's shaking his head.
William's like, yes, talk about that.
We have not seen the kicker kick anything yet
until that practice.
No, I mean the kicker.
Oh, Greg Zuerlein?
Yes.
Greg the leg.
And that back surgery should have been cleared up. I don't know if he's got something else, but he has not kicked one that we've seen in practice. And I don't know if that's a concern or not when your backup kicker is your punter.
Well, tune in on Monday. Must-see television. It's the kicker-punter battle here on Talkin Cowboys. We will hit it, and we will talk about it, but we've got plenty more that we're going to hit from this busy weekend of practices. But until next time, from Oxnard, for Rob Phillips, he's Mickey Spagnola.
I am always Mickey
Spagnola. I am Kyle Yeomans. I got a little ahead of myself there. He's Mickey Spagnola. I'm Kyle Yeomans. So long from Oxnard here on Talkin Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!